growing from decade to year. Segregation struck down so the kids could appear. Civil rights laws put equality near. Interracial marriage won the fight over fear. Fair housing arrived in 68. Title IX opened doors for the future we create. Credit rights in 74 reshaped fate. Disability protections made the world more straight. LGBTQ visibility refused to wait. Marriage equality show love is great. 20 brought a roar that the world felt shake. History awakened and refused to break. But look at today, some truths get cold. Voting rights strange, stories untold. Deity sliced, old bias gets bold. Affirmative action slipping back into the fold. Women losing ground they already earned. LGBTQ protections overturned. Housing discrimination slowly return. Progress in the fire while the old flames burn. Calling response, who are we? If we see and stay quiet, who are we? If injustice builds a riot, who are we? If the truth is on trial, who are we? If we don't walk the mile. That is why tonight this room is alive. That is why we gather to keep hope and drive. That is why Leslie stands and thrive. That is why Carl steps in with insight that survives. That is why you are here ready to rise. Eyes open wide with a heart that tries. Truth in your hands, future in your eyes. History is calling in the moment replies. Up, rise up, rise up. Stand with the truth when the times get tough. Rise up, rise up. Freedom is a promise and a promise is us. Rise up, rise up. Stand with the truth when the times get tough. Rise up, rise up. Freedom is a promise and a promise is us. We stand in a fragile moment. A moment that needs courage. A moment that needs truth. A moment that needs every one of us. This is why we gather. This is why we rise.
United we stand. I'm with a unity over division, indivisible. These aren't just words, this is a way of life. This is a fight that burns bright. This is the moment we refuse to hide. Why did women never stand alone while the world looked away? Why did power walk free while truth had to pay? You can't just grab them by the pussy. You can't define a queen by what you say. Not a bitch, not a hoe. We're rewriting this today. Grab them by the, grab them by the, grab them by the, grab them by the. Every man, every woman, every he, she, them, they. We support you, you belong. Nobody fights alone, nobody wins alone. Those who stand for nothing fall for anything.
Beat drops,
Crowd,
voices loaded.
let's go. I'm stepping in the fire with my head held high. Every scar on my skin is another reason why I don't bow, I don't break, I don't swallow the lie. I'm the thunder in the sky, I'm the truth that I stand with the women who raised me strong. Who taught me what's right, who corrected what's wrong. Who said love means respect, respect means protect. If you silent while they suffer, you part of the neglect. Turn the volume up, turn the old world down. We are writing every rule to try to keep us underground. Rise, fight, stand. Rise, fight, stand. Rise, fight, stand. We are not standing for this crap anymore. We are not the people from the past. We will fight back and we will win. Because we the people, when we rise up together, we do our shit bang, we do our shit back. I hear the ancestors whisper, push forward, push stronger. silence the bruises. We done with the leaders who treat people like excuses. If you coming for our rights, then we stepping outside with the whole damn crowd, and we marching with pride. Every fist held high, every voice amplified. We the way that can't stop. We the nationwide ride. We the ones in the streets with the bass in our chest. We the ones who believe that equality's blessed. We the future walking forward, never taking less. We the people in the mirror saying rise, progress. We not sitting down, we not stepping back. Every woman, every man, every straight, every trans, every color, every fam. We defending the land. We the new generation with a justice demand. If you blocking our path, we taking command. Who fights? We fight. Who rises? We fight. Who rise? Who leads? We lead. Who stands? We stand. We are not standing for this crap anymore. We are not the people from the past. We will fight back and we will win. Because we the people, when we rise up together, we do our shit. 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 We rise because the truth needs a voice. We rise because silence was never a choice. We rise because justice is a promise we keep. We rise because our children dream while they sleep. We rise because history is watching. We rise because this time we refuse to lose. This is why we gather. This is why we rise. Because when we rise together, we win. Bang.
Hey everyone, my name is William Rochelle, and you can call me Bill. Welcome to UBU Live. I want to take a moment to express why I'm here and what I'm doing. And before I start to say what I'm going to say, I'm going to tell you guys that I've been struggling all night and all morning. People ask me, do you really want to put out that song? Maybe you should edit it for a certain audience. And I thought to myself, if you can hear it every day from the White House, but it bothers you here, then it's not me that's the problem. My dad came back from Vietnam. He was a vet, and he didn't get the help he needed. That affected me my entire life. My mom was abused physically for the first 8 years of my life. Guns to her head by my dad, burning of the books, all sorts of stuff. It was terrible. And I've lived all of my life in the closet. And this is the first time I've ever said that. I am a part of the LGBTQ community. I understand what it likes to feel rejected. I understand what it feels to be marginalized, to be hated just for breathing. And in the end, oh my God, I cleaned up my house, but I put everything in the back and I can see it, sorry. Squirrel. In the end, there were a couple of people that pushed me forward. Martha said, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that you inspire me because you're brave. And Americo DaCosta said one day on a message, I don't know if it was a private message or not, but he said, Bill, you're authentic and you're unapologetically you. And I thought, I'm not, because I'm living this part of my life in fear. And I'm letting that go. I'm not taking fear with me in 2026. I'm not living for you or for anyone. I can't be the host of a show called UBU Live if I cannot be me. So I talked to my cousin this morning. He said, all right. So first of all, I talked to my ex-wife, my kids, and everyone to let them know this is going to happen. And I got to sign off on those that I love. So I need to get that out. I need to let you know that this was not a soundbite for me. This is a rallying call. This is me defending my mother. This is me defending my 12-year-old self. And this is me saying we're not going to allow someone to tell my daughter what to do with her freaking body. She came to me once when she was 12 years old. Sorry, everyone backstage. This is the last story. Brooke had said, Dad, I want to come get me. She was in West Covina. I was in Beverly Hills working. I didn't live in Beverly Hills. And I sent a driver to go get her because it would have been a 2-hour drive. She comes back and she's watching an after-school special about teen pregnancy, but I don't know it at the time. So I am working so that I can leave. And she comes up to me and she puts her hand on my shoulder.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Mm-hmm.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Well, I think that he wants us to talk.
I
Hi,
can
Laura.
hear you. Hi. Can
Oh,
you hear me, Bill? Can you hear me, Leslie?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's only Bill right at this point.
I couldn't hear.
I think it's the earphones. I've had that problem before too. That's sometimes, yeah. So how's everybody doing out there in La La Land? Somebody get a picture of Bill with his earphones
I
like
think we might have to learn sign language.
So today we're going on to talk about how women over the decades have gone through some mighty changes. And there's Carl. Hey, Carl, can you hear us? And can we hear you? Now
I can hear you.
So it's the Leslie and Carl show until the
No,
Carl
Lauren's on there. Lauren's
Yeah,
there.
but her face isn't here now. It's like, see.
Okay, hang on.
Anyway, we're talking about
Okay.
the decades and the changes. Oh, now none of us are here. I know what it is. We may still be.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Aaron. Bye.
There we go. Good job, Bill.
I love Aaron.
That's who I call. Yeah.
Yep. Sorry about that, guys. I hit something. I started fiddling with my mic connection, and when I hit the mic, everything went dark. And I appreciate the fact that I have pros on that were able to handle everything. And Aaron Gibson, stay off your phone. Love you, man. Thank you so much. He's walking me through what to do. He says, get Leslie on. So let's start the show from where we left off with you last week, Leslie. Thank you, everybody, for allowing me to have that moment. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Leslie Flowers.
Hi. Where do we leave off, Bill?
Well, last time we left off, it was probably right at the Me Too movement. We had taken it all the way up, and we were talking about what's next. And what you were saying is, I feel a shift coming. The universe is aligning.
Yes.
And that's kind of where we were there. That's where we left off. And then due to popular demand, I thought we would just pick back up from there and then get Carl's perspective on it. And Carl, you watched her show, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so just kind of seeing the two perspectives would be great. And so I'm going to allow you two to speak and talk to each other. And Leslie, I'm going to have you go first, my dear. Love you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I appreciate you. Okay. So we did leave it off where Bill, you and myself, we're both seeing the changes, albeit slowly. And we talked about the fact that it has to change, right? By law, by the way, God's law, it isn't static. And so I think we're at a pretty, you guys hear all that?
Oh. Is it me again with the feedback?
Maybe not. Who knows? It sounds
It's
good.
better.
Yeah.
It's better.
Okay. So we're now slowly, we're up at this pinnacle here where our rights, the things that I fought for and we all fought for, so that if I didn't want to have a child or my children, right, it's a big thing. And it took a lot to get this passed, whether you agree with it or not. So now we're in a very tough time. There's a lot of things that are happening that it could take away all the work that we did. But if you look, there are signs, and you can sit back and smile when you see the signs, because people are actually hanging themselves, people who have done things that perhaps don't align with my values or your values, Carl, right? Yet here's the interesting thing, and I really want to get this from Carl, because Carl, are you a baby boomer like me?
I am very definitely a baby boomer.
Okay. So my experience as a young woman was being treated miserably by men of my age, which told me now that it was their fathers where they were being modeled, right, or modeling after. And I always believed that, the fathers were treating the mothers nicely. Not so true. So this behavior of resentfulness to baby boomer women has grown over the decades. And what I find the most difficult is when I get in a group with a lot of men like you, of your age, Carl, my age, right? They don't like smart women, and they don't listen, right? It's kind of inherent. It's not that they just started not listening. Women have not been listened to for a very long time. We've been heard, but not really listened to. Other women will listen to us. There are younger men. I found that the next generation, not us, but what's the one right now before us? Gen X. My kids are Gen X. And I raised my son to listen. I made sure he took transformational technology and he studied Think and Grow Rich. He knows how to treat a woman based on his father modeling good behavior. But in the end, that behavior turned very evil. So my beliefs about men and women and how it ought to be have taken a big beating, right? Because I'm watching what's going on, and all the things I believed in about happy marriages and men treating women beautifully really weren't true. So I'm facing this now, and I would like to know how you feel about women your age. And did you notice this with other boys your age, that they didn't have that inherent respect for women? And it seems better now. So that's one of the things, even in the, as we look at what's going on in our government, which is really what's pushed, right? The pendulum to this point, it has to go down now. So we start to see little things. But I'm really curious about what you heard about what I said about men our age. And is that the way you've seen it too? Or is it
Well,
different for you?
well, we've just recently discovered each other through Bill, and pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
What even Bill doesn't know about me yet is that I grew up in a family with 5 sisters, 1 brother, and my mother went through some of the same things. She grew up in North Carolina, and it was in the case of, I would say, 3 of my sisters, they grew up and fled the nest just to be away from a toxic environment of how my dad treated my mother. And so he was born in 1916. She was born in 1922. And he was in the service. He was a Marine. And when it came down to family activities, my mother was the glue that held us together. She got me started in volunteerism, and I still love that feel-good paycheck of doing good things when I can. And so a recent show that Bill had with Aaron Gibson, Aaron wants to go on a whirlwind tour of the United States out of Canada and just do good wherever he can go. It's like, I want to wave my flag. I already invited him to Newcastle, where I live. But anyway, over the years, I have seen more and more evidence. I grew up out in the country. I think it is a herd mentality when you grow up in this city or in towns that, one builds off of another. And out in the country, my best friend eventually became a pastor, and Dwayne was a good guy. We did interesting experiments together. Probably drove both my parents crazy, but all in all, we had respect for the family. We had respect for women. And I remember in 6th grade, one of the guys in our high school wanted to let a cute girl cut in line. Well, that's not fair. Wasn't okay. I said it wasn't okay. And he picked a fight with me. It didn't last long. He says, "Carl, that's the hardest I've ever been hit, ever." And this was at a reunion maybe 20 years ago. It was just one punch. And, it's not fair. So, and then don't pick on me, because fair is fair. So I believe in being fair. I think a women's movement, I picture it. I would love to picture it. 30 women, arm in arm, elbows interlocked, marching down avenues, not just one row, but many rows, unless the street is wide enough to have more than that. But the solidarity.
You see, so really, then what you're saying is that from your viewpoint in your family, and there are families that nurtured, right, properly, if you will, out of respect. But another thing I've noticed is that, that bullies raise bullies. And these things are inbred. These are not things that we can change overnight. So there were a couple of really good questions here. And what I would say is keep your eyes open for the positive. I don't know that it can get this much worse. Frankly, it's at the peak. So now it's going to start going like this. How are we going to take care of women? Well, all of those things are not going to be eradicated. I'll tell you right now that we must believe and visualize that the pendulum has started to swing. We've got people leaving. There were elections, and people are standing up as we did in the 60s. And by the way, Bill, I wanted to tell you that I flew troops into and out of Vietnam in the 60s,
Yeah.
which means I might have been with your dad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not impossible, but it's
He was
very
a paratrooper.
Huh? Oh, he was.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have pictures of him kind of.
Probably
I
didn't
have-
jump out of your plane.
I have
Probably
the
not.
blood. There are blood wings that you earn. It looks like a parachute, and I have that pin because when we were stewardesses and we were taking 250 guys over into Vietnam to let them loose, they had all these medals that they had earned in basic training, but they couldn't take any of them with them. Obviously, they're going to be in Vietnam for a year. So the stewardesses, they gave them to us. I have an MP badge, but I will tell you the difference between dropping them off with raised tattoos, young boys, nervous as all get out, and 30 minutes later, the plane is loaded up with 250 men who are scared to death, the complete antithesis of the energy. Everybody's smoking cigarettes, nobody's talking, they're shell-shocked. So I was really very fortunate to be able to see that. And that's when I was going to San Francisco State, and it was kind of a wild place. But it's challenging. Just look up. Start looking for the changes that are good instead of noticing the ones that aren't, and you'll see them.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it big time, and that's what made me want to leave anything. I need to let everything out right now and move forward with my life. Carl, did you serve or?
I was in the I think God blessed me, or actually blessed the world population, because my guidance counselor thought I should be a classroom teacher because I taught calculus for one day, and one of my classmates says, "Oh, that's what he was trying to teach yesterday." I did very well in the sciences. People at my church thought I should be a preacher.
Yeah, but the question was, did you serve?
I would be the boringest. Okay. God kept me out of officer candidate school because lack of common sense probably would have killed too many people.
Got you.
So God picked a path for me that
was different.
In the military. My brother served in the Air Force. He was a medic and prosthetics fitter in the Philippines, got a lot of Vietnam casualties. And my dad was a Marine during the Korean occupation. So
yeah, I was just asking because there were so many people that got affected by Vietnam. And the way that we took care of our troops when they came back, they weren't held as heroes because there were protests going on against Vietnam. So it's kind of like, it's almost like what's going on right now, where we're entering into wars that we don't need to be in.
Well,
no reason.
They were scapegoats for the government policies. They were the troops on the ground, but they got the backlash for the government policies that were things that happened in Washington at the Pentagon.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Leslie.
No, I'm just listening to what you're going to say.
Oh, I was going to defer back to you. I just wanted to know if Carl served in the Vietnam War, because it wasn't until recently my Uncle Fuji told me that my dad was brilliant. And then he told me, but when he came back from Vietnam, he was a different person. And so I know a couple of family members who said the same thing. Was that common? Why did they come back so damaged? And then let's get right back into the women's rights.
Okay, well, I can tell you why, because I was in an attack and ran across the runway into a little bunker with an American military man running next to me, holding my hand and just pulling us, the stewardesses, along, because a whole year of rockets that are 90-pound rockets that when they hit the ground, they splinter like this, and they can be carried on someone's back. It's a whole year of anxiety. They have an R&R, which is like a break somewhere in between a couple of weeks where a family will come over and they'll go somewhere. But it is a year of living in fear of being killed, of your best friend being killed, and you're in a strange country, your feet are moldy from the dampness. It's misery, right? So that's why they come back. And they came back and they weren't honored or respected. And even to this day, and it's even worse with the military, maybe there should be more respect for our military before anything else. That's kind of what I think. So that's, for me, that's why they were horrible conditions, terrible conditions.
Yes.
And these are 17, 18, 19-year-old boys just getting out of high school with raised tattoos on their arms, scared they were drafted.
Right.
So it's different, right? You remember, Carl?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I was one of the first years when the draft lottery came in, and I had a high number, so I wasn't forced into choosing which branch of the service or whatever. So, like I say, God put me on a different path, and I like being like here with Bill, with you, Leslie, and if I were going to make any suggestions for the young ladies who are out there who might be within families, don't sell out cheap. Find a guy that chooses to respect women of his own free will, and don't date guys that won't. I worked in construction in San Francisco, and one guy was just hooping and hollering at anything that moved, blonde ponytail, across a wide avenue, 4 stories down. We're on the roof of a 4-story, and he's on the ground, or the ponytail's on the ground. But at 10 o'clock, after all this mess, he says, "Carl, can you tell if that's a girl?" Yes, So one of the girls from my church, I said, "Don't ever date a guy like that."
Right.
In fact, warn your friends not to be a guy like that. Bill, back to you. The women's rights. I think women can be a good influence on guys, especially when they're young, before they get to the formative years. Mid-20s are when their core beliefs and personality just kind of coalesce. And
Between that, sorry, be specific. Who, women or men in their 20s?
Okay. Men mature later. Okay.
Right. Okay.
When from 18 to 23 or so, they're still up in the air. They're subject to influence. Girls and women influence them in the right direction to be respectful.
Yet their beliefs and their self-confidence and the modeling of their fathers is vital, even though they don't reach this until later. It molds them. So, if very often you will see people that gravitate toward police work who were bullied, right?
Mhm.
Because their inner child has been bullied and hit, and that's what they're expressing. So we very often have men, and certainly some women, that are actually adolescents inside an adult male body, that they are emotional adolescents, but we think of them as men because they're fully grown.
But isn't that what we're seeing right now, just in general, with our politicians, and all these things that are going on, and the bringing it back to Vietnam, bringing it back to women's rights. We know right now that we're being distracted. All these things that are going on this week are a distraction because the people in power don't want us to know what's in those files. The closer we get to the release date of those Epstein files, which represent young women underage who have already said, "I am the victim and I am willing to have all of my information released," why isn't it being released? Why are we?
They're not listening because they're all complicit, whether they're Democrat or Republican. I mean, we have kind of a breakdown in moral fiber, I think. I mean, it feels like the fall of the Roman Empire in a way to me, morally, because what we're experiencing now from our leadership is the antithesis of how we were raised, right? It's the opposite of how we were raised. It's money first, people second, not people first, money second, right? That's yeah.
So I'm going to ask Lauren this question. Hey, Lauren. Everyone, this is Lauren. Um, are you muted, or did I mute you, or are you muted
I'm
yourself?
muted.
Okay.
Muted.
Thank you. So, Lauren, bring it forward. Um, Part of what I wrote in the intro song was we rise because our kids dream when they sleep, and that is that part meant a lot to me because it's not about us. It's about the generation that we grow with. And Leslie, you said something, and Carl, you said something that I 100% appreciate. And it's that you were raised by parents that were raised by parents that were raised. And so at some point, we have to break those generational curses.
Mhm.
I have for the most part. I'm but my kids still say, you could have been better. Like in the story I was sharing, and I didn't get it all out because my mic went blank. Um, but my daughter was upset that I sent a car to pick her up instead of me picking her up myself. And my thing was, I got you to me as quick as I could. So we all are works in progress. We all, once we know better, we do better. And in this point, in this reflection point, I think we do know better. And anyone out there that is watching that thinks it's okay that the powerful, and I'm not talking about right now, I'm not talking about the administration. I'm talking about Sean Combs, Puff Daddy. If you watch his thing, he had the money to shut it down.
Mhm.
He had the money to shut it down. If you have enough money and you have enough power, you can do exactly what was said in the beginning of that song. And that is where I'm pissed. Why do the victims have to be punished while the power gets to walk free? Those victims are still dealing with the hurt. I'm still dealing with the hurt from what happened to me. So you're asking them to relive it on a public stage, and someone can say it's fake news. And because you're a man, and because you're not a man of color, sorry, Carl,
No
you're
problem.
you're going you get an excuse. And that's when we say white privilege. Because if Obama had done one of these things, one, one, that he would have been out, period, full stop. Um, so how do we reconcile that, Lauren, as our generation? And then I would like to hear from Carl about what his thoughts on it. So let's start with Lauren.
That's a tough question. I don't even know if you can reconcile something like that. I just want to let's circle back to like my mother was abused when she was young, and I'll say when we were doing the book process, um, I in the book I wrote that I dedicated my chapter to my mother, and I said she was the one person that I didn't want to be like, and it was because uh, she was abused when she was a child, physically and sexually abused, and that was something that I didn't learn about her until she passed away. And I never understood why she never wanted to go back to her hometown. And but she took a lot of that abuse out on me. Uh, and although I knew she had love for me, she used to tell me that she loved me very much. And I knew that, but I couldn't grasp why. So anyway, moving forward, I don't know if there is a way to um, move on and move past those generational curses. The only thing that we can do as parents is be better and try to, I know I learned from my mistakes. I had my issues with my children, and my daughter, ironically, never wants to have kids. And so, I mean, we're stuck there. She does not want to have children because of, you know, I don't know if it was because she grew up mostly without me. She was raised by her dad, and there were issues there. That's in my chapter. But, it, you know, I think we're just, I don't know. I am so, when it comes to like the whole Diddy thing, P. Diddy and the Epstein files, it is all oh, such a hot mess. And, the world is a mess. And so when you're trying every day to gravitate to something positive,
Yep.
and you're working really hard to stay positive, but you have this in your head and this in the news, and this is like, how do you even move past all of that?
So my
These
question to
poor,
you, Lauren, is, but or actually for Carl, how do you not watch it? And I'm going to go back to you, Lauren, because my thought process is, if I turn a blind eye, then who's going to stand up? And I don't think that you need to stand up for yourself. I think it's time that me and Carl stood up for you. Carl?
I agree with that too. And something that I wanted to throw in, like half a minute ago, might have been 45 seconds or 59 seconds, don't know. But, part of the healing process is going to be better communication moving forward. From 1993, I was in a workplace related stress support group, and I overheard the facilitator talking to somebody on the phone, and she says, "You need to have a list of things that are absolutely not okay." And it just stuck. But a week later, and I was just stopping in for coffee and conversation, I heard her talking to somebody else. And she says, you need to have a list of things or absolutely must have. And a week later, I'm talking to somebody, and all of a sudden I just blurted out, you need to have 2 lists. Absolutely not okay, absolutely must have. And for anybody who's in a relationship, we're all in relationships, whether it's coworkers and us or other people and us, Bill, you and me, what's not okay and what's an absolutely must have. We need to discuss those things. So, and anything that's not on one of those lists is negotiable. And so the lists need to be updated a little bit. But I think that needs to be out there to a bigger audience. And, I thank God that this venue is here where we can talk about things. About 5 years after that, I'd relocated back to Pennsylvania, and I called a friend of mine who's a dentist, and I said, I'm single and I don't do the bar scene. Who do you know? And he says, nobody. 3 days later, I got an email from him that told me about one lady. The next day, I got another email from him, different lady, different phone number. And I had a 1-hour phone conversation with her. She wanted to meet me in person. She wanted to talk. Okay, we set it up in a public place. The first thing that came out of her mouth when we met in person, Carl, I want you to know I'm married. But you were so open with me over the phone, and my husband is not. He had hidden issues that it's my belief, and God never has me do follow up on these things. It's my belief that he had issues that he wanted to resolve, but he wasn't confident that his wife would be his partner in helping him with those issues. It's like, chucked out, it's either bullying or sarcasm or something like that. He needed to have confidence in his wife, and she needed to let him know that she was there to help. And after 2 hours of talking in person, she was ready to do that. So it's, just opportunities. God puts me in strange places for good reasons.
You're muted. Bill. Hi, Bill.
I know. Where's
There you are.
Aaron? I need an executive remote producer.
I
Lauren.
wanted to,
Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Well, I just wanted to bring something up. That's an isolated incident. I just want to, for the woman who you met who was married, I am going to give you some real details here. Okay.
Do it.
My marriage broke up at the year of 2000, 2002. I went on a site, and I think that dating online is crazy. I never had a good experience with it. But anyway,
Slim pickings for women.
I went on a site called plentyoffish.com. Now, understand that the under part of that is that sex is going to be discussed. Okay, it's not taboo. Everybody knows that that's where we're going.
You were on Plenty of Fish?
Right. Oh, yes. Yeah. But anyway.
You didn't use J-Date? Come on.
I know. I told you I don't like Jewish boys very much because they remind me of my brother and my father, and that doesn't work for me. Right. But anyway, here's what I want to tell you. I went on there with my picture, and within the first few days, I had 80 men reach out to me. You are the one. I am the one for you. And I had totally forgotten to say that married men need not apply. And then there was still a few. I said, go back. I sent them all a message because I couldn't figure out, but I hadn't told them. I said, go back and find out what it is that you fell in love with your wife. I said, and they all said the same thing. She's my best friend. I love her. And I don't want to leave her, but it's just not exciting anymore. Now, when I sent back that message, there was still 3 or 4 that says, yeah, but I'll rock your world, lady. So,
what are you talking about?
The percentages of men that are out there cheating and the ease with which men can cheat in their town. I did some research and investigation on this. Okay. It happens in every little town in the United States, and it goes on all the time. You don't want to know, because once you know what's going on, you'll see it everywhere.
Yes. Yes.
So it was a horrifying experience to realize that all these men were willing to cheat on their wives. They didn't want us, be responsible like Carl, like your friend was.
But why is it? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Carl.
I lost my train of thought, Bill. Go for it.
Okay. Why is it that women, and this is the different thing, but why is it that, why would a woman date a married man? I don't understand that mentality either.
Safe. It's nice. Excellent. And safe, right?
Really, Lauren, you too?
No commitment. It's safe, right? Not that I would date a married man, but I'm just saying, especially the young ones, or they're looking, right? They're looking for sugar daddies, right? And these men, bless their hearts, remember they're 16 inside a 45-year-old body. Absolutely. So when push comes to shove, it's really out sowing your oats. That's the thing they miss the most. That's what they loved doing when they were 16. They're really still 16. Mm-hmm. And that's what they go for when their marriage breaks up. But they don't want the marriage to break up. They want to have their cake and eat it too. There's always a plan B. That doesn't work for women.
Lauren?
Anyway, I've said enough.
No, you said that was great. That was a great share.
I am loving this. I'm loving this conversation. So I don't know if anyone on my LinkedIn profile, this year I decided to become ordained to marry people. And one of the reasons why I decided to do that was because I think it's really important that people understand why they get married. Why are you getting married? Why do you want to be married? Why do you feel the need to be married? if you're going to be married, why do you want to have an affair? And I will tell you that I am pursued by married men on a regular. And I mean on a regular. On LinkedIn, and in my face, at the grocery store, you know, and then I say to them, I have a quick question for you. Are you married? Oh, well, yeah, there is that. Okay,
Really?
well now, and you know what? So I have my own stories behind that. And I'll be honest with you, I have not had a date or a man in my life since 2016 by choice.
Me too. That's
Well, you may try to go the
Well,
other
honey,
way.
then
then.
you and I, we can go on a date.
Been that
and we'll just
long.
figure it out.
you know, right now I feel like I'm falling more in love with the soul than a person. You know, like the energy. It's just like forget everything else. It's too much.
It
And then
is.
after 2020, it's kind of an odd thing because after 2020, we were all closed up, so you couldn't go out and meet people. So what do? I'm not bringing anyone in my home. You know, it just kind of, what do you do? I know that Carl met his wife, Jane or Janine?
Yeah, Jane.
Jane, and you met online, and
Correct.
you have your 5 flags, but we're not going to go through all 5 unless you're going to do them really quick.
No, it's called Red Letter Days. Okay. Red Letter Day number 1 is when we met online. My profile went across her screen. I got a thing that says, I'm interested in you. I know it's 1 click. And I typed back, are you a real person or a robot? Okay. 3 days later, after several phone conversations, we met in person. That's Red Letter Day number 2. I'm half nerd, half geek. During high school years, I've got lots of ideas. I told her on our first date I have 170 ideas. And then I thought, oh, gee, what did I just do? I said, but they're all in a spreadsheet and they're prioritized. Red Letter Day number 3 is March 29th, 2017. She didn't run away. She still hasn't run away permanently.
Right, but she did walk away from you at that,
No.
across that bridge that day.
Number 4 is the day I proposed. Number 5 is the day we got married. So, but God took a long time preparing me for that, including 4 different times. I was on different dating sites, had rewritten my profile, got tired of a grind, went off of it for several months, rewrote myself. And one of the ladies said that it's slim pickings for women's out there. And I said, I agree with you. And so there were a few times when, you know, it's like, okay, this lady doesn't seem to be right, but we got into phone conversations. She needed a massage, a neck massage, so she wouldn't get a migraine. I drove 65 miles, but the best result of that was I took her off my list as a possible. She got her neck massage and I drove home. Another lady got a screen door put on her house. But, you know, God put me here to be helpful. Who's laughing loudest?
I'm laughing. I'm thinking these are great ideas. Screen door. You know, we have a whole new appreciation for the electrician, the HVAC repairman, right? And actually that's right. So I have a whole new appreciation for them.
Well, it's too bad you don't live closer, but you need to write it so a handyman will respond to you or pray for a handyman.
I am so grateful that I can be one of these women. Mm-hmm. And it's happening more and more where we have our own money and we do not have to rely on you, and you're not always working anyway. So I've been on my own for 25 years, but I had over 30 years in a single committed marriage. And I know I don't want that again. And
you don't want it again.
No, I don't. I want just a casual affair here and there. What's wrong with that?
It's great. I am loving you for this conversation. I am loving it. Quick question for everyone. So there's a couple of things going on simultaneously. We have 600 people on YouTube that are watching us right now. We're at the hour mark. I know everyone's time is precious, but the conversation's really just getting going. So I want to see who wants to leave and who can stay. Lauren, I really want to talk to you after this, if you don't mind, about what I started with.
No.
Um,
Can I just say something?
yes.
I love these conversations, but I personally never want to get married again. I was married once. My father was married 4 times. My mother was married 3 times. And my dad keeps asking me, why don't you want to get married again? I'm like, between the two of you, there's 7 marriages. Like, why would I even want to even entertain that idea? I
It's
never want to get
expensive.
married, but I would love to marry people, but I chose to get ordained because I want people to understand what they're actually getting into, because it's so easy to, you know, consider having an affair. It, I mean, those type of people, they're out there, right? They're, you know, they want to, you know, it's just easy. It's easy to do, and people they're open to it because they never want to leave their wife, and you know they got the sexy neighbor next door, and she's hot and he's hot, and you know. But I mean, I've seen it all, and I've heard it all. So anyway, I just thought it was funny, you know.
Mhm. Well, we just had a woman from our congregation pass away recently. Her services are this week, but she was going for cancer therapy. I had a chance. I was as a deacon, we do transportation for people who need help. So I took Fran to her lab, and her husband was on his last few days, and we didn't know it at that time, but I took her for a visit there if she felt like it, if she was up to it. And so Fran visited Bill, and this was the last time that I saw him alive. But the love talking back and forth after 55 years of marriage, you know, that strong love. And it's like Fran really didn't care as much about living anymore. And I consider it a blessing that she passed, and now she can be with Bill. But, you know, there are some marriages out there that are 50, 60, almost 70 years young, you know, with the right people. My first marriage, I stayed in that marriage. We kind of agreed halfway that maybe we aren't meant for each other. She was in California, 3rd-generation Japanese. And, you know, there were very, very, very good parts of that marriage. And this time around, it's like, I want to have the stability of a family, but I know it's the right thing to do. And for me, it's the right thing to do, but I am going to be ready and I'm going to be committed before I get in. So 4 years of preparation between 2000, my first date was in 2013. I remember the exact day because it was my parents' anniversary date, September 15th in 2013. But it took until 2017 to find the right lady and to be properly prepared for that. And I was a handyman for more jobs than you know. But
Absolutely.
you know,
So,
it was a blessing.
absolutely, Carl. So we'll go throw to Leslie real quick because I know that you're on a schedule and I'm running behind. How are you on time, Leslie?
I'm good.
You're good. Okay, good. Okay.
I'm good too. I want to throw another thing out there,
Go
and
ahead.
this
One thing I want to say is that Kinga did say we went from human rights to cheating. You never know what direction we're going to go in. So I think she wants us to go back to human rights, and which was the original topic that we're on.
Mhm.
But we can go into cheating real quick and then go back.
Okay, every human should have the right to this. There's a gentleman who's he was a pastor, converted to comedian, and he does Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage. And Mark Gungor is so funny, and I'll send links because it's also appropriate if you can be in the same room for a while and you look at the foibles between the way men think and the way women think. You know, Guy is, you know,
Do you think that men fear powerful women?
if they're not prepared for it, and if the power is abusive power. There are some women who will abuse their power. But if you
So
know, get
hold on,
out.
Carl. So you're
Yeah.
saying, so
Okay,
let's
go
be
with it.
clear. All right. So you're saying there's some women that will abuse power, but
Mhm.
we're watching an entire stack of men that are abusing power right now. So
Absolutely.
that
Men
that
are
brings
worse.
that brings me back to Lauren. Um, how are women voting against their own interest and Hispanic and blacks? Like, how are those people voting for Trump?
You
It's
know,
okay. It's okay if you voted for him. That's great. I mean, it's okay. If you
I,
didn't,
I
it's
did not.
fine.
I did not vote for
Okay.
Trump.
Okay.
I find politics are very tough to talk
Hmm.
about.
Okay.
Um, there's fine lines there. You can have friends and acquaintances that you just absolutely adore.
Hmm.
My best friend, he is. I mean, I love him, but he is a Trump supporter.
Yeah,
We
I
do
have that
not
too.
we do not discuss him at all.
Yeah.
I find this whole Epstein thing revolting. Um, it's a disgrace that these women are having to fight their way through, and for someone to say it's a hoax, and they're having to claw their way out of, telling their truth. I mean, it's unfortunate that some women will use abuse as a tool to get what they want. And I'm not saying that every woman does it, but there are women who have, used it to their advantage to get what they want. But for those women who are genuinely being abused and raped and um, in this particular situation, including Epstein and P. Diddy, and you know, even the stories that are unheard of, and we're not hearing all about it. This, I mean, for what it's worth, every 15 minutes, a woman is being raped in the United States.
Yes, and
So,
and let me share with you, Lauren. I'm a little older, and I can tell you that at 17, I was working at Stanford Research Institute for a very famous endocrinologist, and I was doing rat studies. And this man chased me in the rat room, grabbed at me, kissed me, was playing pan during the day with my mother. There was nowhere to go. So, most of us at 17, there was no place, no one would listen, right? There was
absolutely.
nowhere to go and say anything, you know. And no matter when I got married and I moved to North Carolina, my boss said, "Oh, come on, Leslie." I was really thin and right.
Yeah,
He said, when do
yeah.
you want to do this? And I said, I'm married. I don't want to. So
Mhm,
these things take time. I think
mhm,
that it's up to us moms and dads to be the best leaders we can be and aspire to live as moral a life as we can. And then when we screw up, that we take full responsibility and let the children know that we did make a mistake and here's how we're going to solve it, because it's
mhm,
never going to be perfect, but
mhm,
it's each one of us, don't you think, have to model and walk the
mhm.
walk of a person. I will tell you, I know if somebody had called me a piggy, or if anybody had said, "Are
Oh,
you a stupid
absolutely.
person?" But these people are afraid of poverty, they'll lose their job, and they're now also afraid of being attacked or killed. So that's a
Mhm.
very good reason not to say anything if you're scared for
Yeah.
your life, right? Don't you
Mm,
think? So
mhm.
would we, people say, why didn't anybody stand up and say, don't call her piggy, or you don't call people stupid, or whatever it is that was just so absolutely ridiculous and
Mhm.
disrespectful, but nobody did. Everybody's
Yeah.
afraid.
They're afraid of the repercussions of what's going on behind closed doors.
Right. It's poverty. They're going to lose
Mhm.
their job. That's the fear of poverty, and it's
Mhm.
real. And it's
Mhm.
also now a death threat for many people. And it's also the fear of criticism and judgment by your peers. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of reasons to have people give up and shave down and massage their morals to kind
Mhm.
of fit in the context that they're working in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
it's tough. I mean, I me personally, and I only speak for myself. I think for me, if I were in that situation, I know me and I know how pig-headed I am. I would speak on it.
Me too.
I would absolutely speak on it. And I don't give and I apologize, but I don't give two shits. I really don't. You can be
Yeah.
you can be the president of the United States. If you come at me in that direction, I have something for you,
And you know what?
and I'm
I'm right here
speaking on
supporting
it.
you too.
And
Absolutely.
this is that he is my age. The
Mhm.
president is my age. I have fought him off in the back seat of a car at a drive-in. I mean, this behavior. It was rampant when I was growing up, so I already know, right, this behavior and how
Yeah.
to. Yeah. So anyway, it's
Hey, Carl, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
I think your
Oh,
television's on in the background, so we're getting some feedback. That's why I keep muting your mic.
I didn't know I was unmuted again, but Jade has a phone conversation. I muted myself
Oh,
first, but
okay.
I'll just leave me muted till she
Okay.
finishes.
That's the only reason why I'm muting you, just to let you know. So when you have something to say, just raise your hand. All right. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I just think it's unfortunate, that these women are fighting and clawing their way into to be justified, um, and then to be considered, like P. Diddy, um, to even have the audacity to ask to be pardoned. I'm like, "Excuse me, I can't stand him. He is, uh, worthless. I don't care how much money you have, and I don't care what kind of background you have. He came Here's the part that really gets me is he came from nothing, from poverty,
Mhm,
and he used his power and his money,
mhm.
and he was, drugging women and abusing them, and the same with all of these men who are in power and have money. Look, this is why I tell people, don't put yourself in precarious situations. If you avoid those situations, money will draw people in. It will, it's kind of like the kid in the candy store when you're drawn into it and you want to have that kind of lifestyle, and it'll draw you in, but I'll tell you what, it's also a trap. And if you're not mindful, you'll get caught up in it. That's why my life, I avoid every possible it my life is simple, minimal and simple. I don't get caught up in the hype. I don't get caught up in, and that's what I try to teach these girls. I listen to these conversations, these young girls, and they're talking about, oh, this guy and that guy. And I say, yeah, it all sounds good. It all sounds good. It looks good. He looks good. Yeah, he's gorgeous. But what's going on behind closed doors? What is he doing? I have a coworker who is, she's in her 40s and she is precious, but I hear these little key words that she says, and I was in my 40s once too. And you think by the time you're in your 40s, you have a little bit of, knowledge or intelligence, but sometimes, it takes a long time to really learn, and it took me a while. It took me a minute. And I hear a lot of things, and you just have to take a step back, you know. You just got to take a step back and pay attention to your surroundings. So, and
Mhm.
that goes for men too. Women can be just as vindictive or, conniving.
Oh, yes. Oh,
So,
absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know,
absolutely.
one of the things I'm going to say about that is I agree with everything you said, Lauren, first. I'm
Thank you.
going to say this to Carl and to Leslie. We have to, as a united front, understand which house is on fire. So when Black Lives Matters comes out, it's because that portion of America was being killed at a higher rate for just walking across the street. Why are we talking about women's rights? They're being stripped away. So
Mhm.
right now, I'm not saying that men don't have rights, but your house is on fire right now, man.
Mhm.
It's Lauren's, it's Lauren's daughters, it's Leslie's grandchildren. You know, Carl and I may be in a safe zone, right? We might be, but right now your house is on fire, and that includes all equal rights. That includes everybody, and I think right now we're under one tent, and I believe, and my good friend, and I thank you so much for bearing with me today, Leslie. I know this was off the cuff, but she said it's going to correct yourself, and you're going to see it. Just wait, you'll feel it.
Mhm.
And I'm feeling that there is going to be some real good that comes out of this horrible, horrible, horrible moment. And that is what got me through this month, period. Because I was like you. I'm over 40, right? Way over 40. And I'm looking for a job. It's hard. It's hard. People aren't looking for someone, 45 for a job anymore. It's not, I'm not their jam. I'm trying to be, but it's hard to stay positive. And then you're looking at something else that's being just torn down. And I can't be a part of or a product of the civil rights movement. Watch my mom stand up for civil rights and then let all this happen to you. Because I want you, Lauren, and you were today, if you realize it or not, to be someone that I can depend on if I need a soldier. And that means I have to be someone you can depend on when you need a soldier.
Mhm.
And why I wanted to start off with, this is not about sound bites. This is my real reality. And this is from my heart. And before we went on stage, I kind of said, guys, this is at midnight. I just changed the whole thing. And I want you to know that you're supported in every way that I can. I'll be in LA, by the way, in for Christmas.
This
Just
Christmas?
yeah,
Oh, sweet.
yeah. Just to let you know, Carl,
So
you have
does
to say
that mean I
something.
need to drive to LA?
Absolutely not. You could. I mean, I would love to see you. I'm not saying that, but if you
Hey,
were in the LA area, I would. What?
can I ask a question? I have a question for Leslie. One of the things that I've been concerned about is our right to vote, because there's always a question about whether we are going to lose our voting rights. And that's a concern for me. It's a concern for my children. You know, my youngest son is 19. And I think it's more of a concern for women. I feel like we're in a stage in these United States that, our rights are just being diminished slowly. So what are your thoughts on that? I don't know. That's always been a concern for me in the last year.
You know, we worked in the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s so that our kids and our grandkids could have these rights. And, boomers and seniors we're tired. I don't believe that will happen. I think that things are changing fast enough because there are many things on the table. There's gay marriage, right? That is a huge population. With the last protest of 7 million people, and if you're observing, I listen to the news a lot because I want to know what my clients and the people that I'm talking to, what they're going through. I don't believe we will get to that, but it's we're just going to have to believe in the pendulum, and that we've hit some very terrible things that, I mean, look, I grew up in the 50s. Right. I mean, the doors were left open and the mothers were at home and everybody took care of everybody else's kid. Right. I mean, it was a different life. It was a safe and peaceful life with the sound of children laughing, and people could walk to the store. Children could walk to the store at dusk by themselves
Mm.
and not worry. This is a very different world. So I'm holding the space and the intention and the visualization that the voting will continue. The idea of only giving one vote to a married couple when 50% of first marriages dissolve and 60 to 75% of second and third marriages dissolve, it would mean that only men in marriages that are together would be voting. We're not letting that happen. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I just am not going there. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
I'm-
just too much. It's too much to manage.
So Leslie, I'm with Lauren. I'm very afraid about that. It seems like it
Mhm.
could be a real possibility. And Lauren,
Mhm.
this is one of the reasons why I'm keeping my eyes always on the news, which is detrimental to my mental health, to be honest with you. I need to stop.
Absolutely.
But I'm looking at it and I'm saying piece by piece, because I'm looking at it so much, I can see what direction we're going in. And I'm praying every day that we get pulled back. Carl, how did we allow a Supreme Court that can basically, there are no three separate branches of government anymore. We're not living the way that this country is supposed to be founded on, which is checks and balances. What say you, Carl? And I'm going to mute myself.
Okay. And how do we get there? We let a few people with loud voices take take center stage, and they might have used a little bit of money here and there to make sure the cameras were on them instead of somebody else. I think it's going to come down to solidarity, and the women's movement and the civil rights movement, and everybody is going to have to come together to make the right things happen. While the vote is still in the people's hands, the people have to vote, and they have to vote correctly.
That's right. Well, correctly, according to their own view. Correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Correctly according to whom? I hear you.
For the benefit of the people in the
Yes.
future,
Yes.
not for the favored few,
Yes.
not for the people. That we have one county commissioner that if you want to know where the news cameras are going to be, find out his schedule, because he's going to be there. Is he
Right.
good for anything else? Not so much. So, track records play a part of that, but there needs to be voices in the mix. Martin Luther King, in his day, he made his voice heard, and a martyr for a good cause. And the world is stronger because of it. There needs to be more people speaking out, even myself. There are times when I feel like I have a crosshair on my back too, because I didn't vote for Trump. And what he did, his administration, suing the mayors of sanctuary cities for breach of their oath of office. And what happened on January 6, 2021? Was he doing his oath of office, relinquishing power according to a vote? No, he's trying to pressure people into changing the vote. So yeah, there's a crosshair on my back too, because there's too many things going a little bit crazy. And like I say, we might need to have thousands of people marching peacefully on the streets as a first step, and then grabbing the microphones and doing things like we're doing.
We had
tonight.
7 million right? So these protests have to have a call to action. If you remember the Occupy, remember all the Occupy this and that, nothing came of it, because if you have a movement, you have to have a very clear call to action. And that's what I'm listening for now, is what is the call to action? What action must we take to stand for this?
Okay,
And voting is
I'll,
one of them.
I'll give you a little bit of a. I told Bill in a previous conversation that Jane and I listened to podcasts, and in this one court case, a fictional character named Andy Carpenter was trying to beat a minor rap for, it's a garbage lawsuit, having a lady who adopts pups. They had a legislation that limited household pets to 3 per family. Also, she could have cattle, an unlimited number of cattle living in a room. But he pointed out correctly that the mayor's wife had a small business, supposedly can't have a small business. And it was the women who were the hammer behind the guys who had the votes. Man claims to be president of this here corporation. Woman says, that's fine, I'm chairman of the board.
Right. Thank you for that, Carl. Leslie, you said there are too many things to list tonight, and I agree with that, because this conversation obviously can go on for 4 hours, and I don't think anyone wants to do that tonight. You do? Okay, Carl.
Maybe 2 hours.
Okay, Leslie, how are you doing over there?
I'm doing great.
Okay, I'm just making sure, because I want to be respectful of everyone's time, and I think we should start kind of doing our wrap up, and doing our final points, and then I'm going to close out. I open with you and Carl. I'm going to close with me and Lauren, if that's okay.
Sure.
All right. Go ahead, Leslie. What's actually, we'll start with you, Carl. What's 3 things that you want the audience to know about you, and how you help women rise when they can't do it on their own, and what you think in the organizations you're putting together to help support women? I think you have one that's 3 men and 5 women. I forgot how you named it.
Okay.
But go ahead.
So let me go into that. I am 100% owner of a small business called Carl's Idea Hatchery, Logo Lab, and Business Incubator. But my goal is to have people with good common sense, mostly women, be co-founders of a company that's been on paper since 2016. It's called 3.5 Women Benefit LLC, means it has a social mission. I'm looking for co-founders. Leslie, after last week, you're eligible to apply. Bill, you're eligible to apply for the one other male position as co-founders. But what I want to do is take projects. My 170 ideas have grown, and I've got some big ticket items in there, but I can't do things by myself. Every business consultant says you got to focus on one thing. Okay, now it's 3.5 women, but within the 3.5 women, start project teams led by women, have them recruit their teams, take an idea or 3, pick out what they want to go, and go for it. I've got 2 revenue streams already, got a 3rd one close. I got nationwide, one of them is expanding a local regional advertising company nationwide. And I think that women could do a heck of a good job at putting this together. The corporate golden parachute idea, I used AI to come up with pink parachutes. Women need pink parachutes, self-employment, or working with a group of people that you want to work with, and building your own retirement using pink parachutes, not golden parachutes.
I think that's great. Don't know why that's color pink, but I think it's great.
Can I just ask why pink?
I was going to say the same thing.
Well, my mother, my wife is a Mary Kay representative, so I've
Oh,
been
okay.
and now Good Christian Company. A lot of people don't know that. Okay, but God
Mhm.
first, their priorities: God first, family
Yeah.
second, career third.
Yeah.
And they practice and preach the golden rule: do unto
Mhm.
others. They don't steal anybody else's customers. But I have been, and they also have an award, a recognition every year for on a national level, international level, of Miss Go Give, as who gives selflessly. Well, I've been a Mr. Go Give for 4 years, and I've got a few products that I think Mary Kay
Hey, Carl.
Corporation would benefit from.
But the question was why pink? Just tell us why pink.
Just answer the question.
Pink,
Yeah, just
Mary,
answer.
Well,
Mary
because
Kay, and
it's Mary
femininity.
Kay related.
Both,
Okay,
both.
perfect,
Feminine and Mary Kay Corporation. Good company.
perfect. Thank you for that question, Lauren. Leslie.
Well, I was just trying to figure out why in the heck we're talking about Mary Kay Cosmetics all of a sudden. Um, okay, so for me, I believe we're going in the right direction. Keep looking up. Look, focus your intention to look for the positives, no matter how small. They're always there, but we're so used to looking for what's negative that seems to glare, right? So look for those signs. The more of them you see, you'll watch things start the crescendo moving down. You're going to see people leaving government. You're going to see elections. You're going to see impeachments. You're going to see people being fired, right? You're going to see the courts are doing a great job. I don't know what to tell you about our Supreme Court, except that it was jury rigging that got in those three conservative judges by,
Absolutely.
what's his name? The guy from Tennessee. I can't think of his
I
name.
don't remember his name either, but yeah, I know what you're talking
So that's the answer. Keep moving your feet and keep looking for the changes that are the opposite of what's happening, and you'll see them. I see them every day, and so do you, Bill.
Yes, I do. I feel very good about it. And I left last week feeling even more empowered after speaking with you.
Good.
With that said,
Yep.
I'm going to take you guys down, and then I'm going to break with Lauren.
Sure.
And if you guys want to stay, you can stay. I understand. If you want to go, you can leave. Okay. All right. Thank you
Thank you.
both for showing up.
Thank
I
you,
really
guys.
appreciate this. Hey, Lauren, how are you?
Hey.
So I want to thank you so much. I asked you at the last minute, and one of the things that I appreciated, because I understood what direction I wanted to go in,
Hmm.
and I don't know why. I just felt like comfortable having you here, and I don't know you, and
I know.
it's kind of like this thing that you feel through the I. We've been like I feel it with Aaron. I feel it with other people. Like when you have a connection, you can
Mhm.
feel it, and I appreciate that. One of the things I was talking about, and I want to just finish it when I got cut off, was that I don't know where I left off, but at the age of 12, my daughter came to my office. Did you get that part?
Mhm.
And then she asked me what would I say if she was pregnant, and then in that moment, I turned to her and I said, "How would you feel?" And what I did in that moment was two things. I took her body and her decision at 12 years old, and I said, I, as your father, want to hear how you would feel about it before I gave you my opinion. Inside, I was freaking the fuck out.
Mhm.
I was like,
Mhm.
oh my God, she wanted to come see me and she said now, and all these things. And I had, her picked up but I didn't. And that message, I wanted her to know that no matter where she is, no matter what's going on, I will stop, drop, and roll to protect her.
Mhm.
And that is the person that I am. That's why I wanted to do the show,
Mhm.
because it's about them. It's their rights that are taken away, and it's about
Mhm.
our generation. Unfortunately, I'm probably about 10 years older than you, but
I
our
doubt it. How, I, how old
No,
are you?
I don't tell people. I'm 42. My daughter's 34, right? So I'm 42. I tell people I found her. But anyway, found them. But it it's important to me that I speak what I speak, I say what I say.
Mhm.
And then, guys, I was kind of being coached backstage whether or not I should basically come out today. But that was heavy on my heart that I be authentic. And I
Mhm.
tell people why I'm doing this and why I'm fighting for all these different rights. And regardless of whether or not you knew it spiritually, I needed you in this moment. And I appreciate the fact that when I sent that text at midnight to you, that you said yes. And you told me you were tired as hell. And I
Mhm.
made you sit for an hour and a half. So I love you so
No,
much for that.
I I I was actually caught off guard, but I am always open for good conversation, you know, and I wasn't sure what we were talking about today, but I'm down for great conversation, positivity. Um, I'm definitely always open for that. And I said, you know what, if he's asking me to be on a show at the last minute,
Mm-hmm.
there's got to be a reason.
Yeah.
And I what made me think about it was you said something in the caption in one of the shows. You said, you loved my energy.
Yeah.
I thought, you know what? I want to get to know this guy. I
Yeah. I
want to
want to get
get
to know
to
you
know I
too.
know, I wanna get to know you, and I
Yeah.
am so grateful that you and I were able to have that conversation in the beginning.
Yeah.
Um,
I almost started crying.
I know, and because it means a lot to me that,
Mm-hmm.
that you trusted me with, it's hard to have those kind of conversations,
Yeah.
but man, I'm so open-minded. I am probably one of the most open-minded people, and I'm so grateful to God for that,
Yes.
to be open, because the world just comes at you in all kinds of directions, and you don't know what walk of life people are in
Yep.
and the journey that they're on. And so, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be here, and I appreciate it. And I love listening to all the conversations. I know we kind of got off, off the beaten path.
But it was
Um,
good.
yeah,
I
it
think
was great. It was a great conversation.
there
So,
there are moments there that everyone can take away with them.
mhm.
Everyone, I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank
Yes,
Ms. Leslie Flowers, Carl
absolutely.
Bromley, and Lauren. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're out
Thank you so much.
almost.
Fuck it said.